videos and encounters to scare you shitless. Yeah, great. It's good that I shat this morning and I don't shit more than once a day. There are people who shit 3 times a day. Did you know that? Hey, Mess, are you there in the chat? I hate the scary music.
How would you like to be working alone in your office late at night, like we
I don't know about that feeling.
often do? Perhaps you have a deadline and the boss is breathing down your neck for some outcomes.
I thought you said
Or
alone.
just imagine working late and realizing that something creepy was in the office with you and was going to turn your job into a nightmare. That's what happened to the woman in the next video. The CCTV footage was posted on the Facebook page of a paranormal team from Malaysia named Wujud. It begins with a chair starting to move on its own behind the woman. She probably senses that something is not quite right as she removes her headphones.
There is
Imagine
some
her
wind.
getting that creeping feeling up her spine that someone or something is in the room with her. Her breathing increases and her heart begins to race. Then her hair stands up on end as her muscles tighten and she gets goosebumps. As the adrenaline enters her bloodstream, her pupils dilate. Is the fear real, or is she just overreacting? Then a heavy glass water bottle is suddenly flung off the table and onto the floor, thrown by an unseen hand. The office worker is visibly shocked and covers her ears from the loud noise, staring in disbelief and astonishment at the bottle now rolling on the carpet. Is the fear real, or could there be some
There is a
plausible
lot of
explanation?
wind.
Deciding
so.
to ignore the activity, the woman picks up the bottle and returns to her work at the computer. But then in a final act, the chair that she is sitting on is violently yanked backwards. Sounds hard to believe, but take a look. Could this be a poltergeist escalating its activity, moving on to bigger things in an attempt to grab the worker's attention? Whatever the explanation, something has wielded a lot of force to move that chair in that way. Finally giving in to the escape part of the flight or fight response. The woman quickly switches off her terminal, grabs her bag and leaves, probably for the best. What do you think of this footage?
I mean, there could be a wire. It can be faked, but also it can be not faked. Why they never have like a post interview with people who did this and felt this and witnessed it? And why they don't have like more experiments in the same room and stuff?
Hushabye baby.
And better cameras. And cameras like 360 from all angles, so we can see that it's not fake.
It's one thing for an adult to experience paranormal activity, but when the ghost decides to begin terrorizing an innocent baby, it's then that the experience becomes truly chilling.
That's mean.
In 2022, Ashley Scott lived in Elizabethton, Tennessee, with her partner Chris Geisler and their 1-year-old baby boy Gavin. Ashley had experienced several mysterious events throughout her life. When she was a young girl, she shared a bedroom with her sister. One night, Ashley awoke to see a little boy standing beside her sister's bed. She admits that at the time she was scared, but later came to believe that the ghost boy was harmless.
What?
Ashley didn't experience any more otherworldly occurrences during her life until she moved into the apartment in Elizabethton. Over the 3 years of living in the apartment together, the couple have experienced too many odd things that they couldn't explain, but they just dealt with them because they were never any physical threat to anyone.
You know,
the odd things.
I have to pause here. For some reason, this reminded me of an event that I had when I was a child, and I'm not lying, you guys. It 100% happened to me as a kid when I was living in Jordan. We moved to this apartment and we only lived in that apartment for 2 months. Now when I think about it, probably because my parents felt the same thing and they moved and they never talked about it. They didn't tell me. But I had the same nightmare over and over and over again, that I would get up, look through my window, and the building next to me, and also we were living on like 5th, 6th floor, the building next to me, I would always see the same person opening the window door, opening the window, what the fuck am I saying? Opening the window and jumping through the window slowly, looking at me and then jumping. And every time I would dream the same dream of that person jumping from the window. I would never see that person's body hitting the floor, but where else is it gonna go, you know? Because I would like wake up before that person would hit the floor. And yeah, Thank God, once we moved away from that place, I never had that nightmare anymore. That is scary, right?
Included strange noises
Maybe a
and the
trampoline.
inexplicable movement of objects around the home. These are all typical poltergeist behavior. Not long before Ashley became pregnant, she and Chris heard the unmistakable sound of pots and pans crashing together. It was coming from the other side of the apartment, but when the couple went to look, nothing had been disturbed.
Oh my God, oh my God.
Ashley,
oh my God.
who was always unfazed by the idea that there was something else there, and always kind of accepted it, has now become fearful of what the entity will do next. She said, "I'm a stay-at-home mum, and I'm always around Gavin, so he's always protected as much as I can protect him. But it scares me because you don't know what any other force might be able to do." It was while she was out grocery shopping on the 1st of October 2022 when Chris sent her a video that really freaked her out. The bizarre footage was caught on a household security camera and shows Chris sitting in the bedroom watching TV.
That's a baby.
1-year-old Gavin begins to crawl into the room through the open door.
Okay.
Gavin is on all fours when he suddenly stops and stares in amazement at his father before he is violently jolted forward as though he has been pushed from behind. The baby, who almost falls flat on his face from the force of the movement, actually turns around to look at whatever it was that pushed him, although he can see that nothing is there.
Oh, that's so mean.
Take a look at this.
Yeah. I mean, the dad doesn't look phased though.
Traditionally, poltergeists are described as troublesome spirits who haunt a
Baby's
particular
clumsy.
person rather than a location.
Oh, he's looking.
Could this spirit be the ghost of the little boy that Ashley saw when she was younger? Maybe he has followed her and now decided to harass and torment her by pushing Gavin because he is jealous of the baby.
Oh, maybe.
What do you think?
But you said it's harmless. Yeah, babies are clumsy. They can just lose a bit of
The lost child.
balance
Mitch
on
Coon
a
was
hand
driving
and then
along
fall
the Hume
down.
Highway in Bardia, a suburb of Sydney in New South Wales.
Funny how the voice tone and the pauses set the mood of the video. That is so true. It depends what type of video you're watching. Horror videos are usually, they have this tone and this sound, and it's great to watch them at night by yourself if you want to be creeped out. But also then you can watch a gaming video about like somebody trying to hype you up, like Cobbleweb or whatever his name is, or PewDiePie back in the day, and they scream their ass off. And then that's such a different vibe, you know?
It was a Sunday evening, just before 8 p.m, as Mitch and his mother were travelling back to the Gold Coast along the dark highway. They were shocked to see the figure of a small child standing in the middle of the left lane of the busy four-lane road.
Oh my God, what is
The child appeared to
that?
be dressed in blue clothes, possibly a large jacket or coat, or perhaps a blanket.
That looks like a teeny tiny person who is holding like a staff or something and trying to crawl.
And the figure appears to be lacking any real solidity as they step towards the vehicle.
So small.
Mitch was unable to stop
Tiny
safely
Gandalf,
because
yeah.
he had been out racing bikes and he was towing a toy trailer, a type of RV that hauls equipment like snowmobiles and quad bikes. The hauler was huge and stopping suddenly would probably have caused an
Oh
accident.
yeah, no, you can't stop on a highway.
But the mother and son were shocked and worried for the child's well-being, so Mitch's mum immediately rang 000 to report the shocking sighting and give their exact location. About 45 minutes later, at 8:29 p.m, Mitch made another phone call to the police. This time to Macquarie Fields police station, and offered to hand over his dashcam footage. But he was relieved to hear that a child had been collected safely and was on his way home, so the footage would not be needed. Mitch then posted the video of the frightening incident on social media, happy that the child was safe. But in a strange twist, Mitch later found out that the police who had attended and commenced a search of the area never found any child.
They lied.
The search was called off at 3:45 a.m. the following morning because there had been no reports of any missing
They thought the
person in
person is
area.
crazy.
So what do you think? The child was not reported missing, so could it have been a kidnapped child who had escaped and was recaptured by their snatcher before the police got there? Or maybe
I
the spirit
hope
of the child who had
not.
been killed on the road and now keeps returning to the area where the trauma took place. What do you think?
To be honest, that child looked like it appeared out of nowhere. Like you could have seen him way farther.
The poltergeist of Millwood.
Millwood.
In another story from Australia, Norm Hurst, the owner
Ah,
of
remember when I said I want to go to Australia?
Brompton IGA store in Adelaide, had already been warned by the previous owners that the supermarket was haunted. but he brushed it off as nonsense. But that didn't stop him from being shocked when he saw actual evidence of paranormal activity recorded on the store's CCTV, and it would seem that the store's ghost has a sweet tooth.
That's a
Footage
hamster.
can be seen of a packet of fruit roll-ups seemingly being thrown from a shelf before landing in the middle of an aisle.
Bruh, how do you see
The product in
anything
question
there?
was kept 6 meters away from where it landed, at the other end of the next lane. And it doesn't just slide off the shelf either, it looks as though it had been pushed.
No, it fell
The
down.
unexplained incident occurred at 11:30
It
p.m.
fell down and
after
rolled.
the store had closed and no one was on the premises.
It just fell
The
down.
CCTV cameras are motion activated and shut down automatically after 15 minutes of no movement.
I call bullshit.
Footage from one camera shows the package suddenly appearing on the floor. The other two cameras show the fruit roll landing there, which would suggest that the motion sensors were triggered before the roll appeared. The burglar
Literally.
alarm was not activated, and there was no sign of a break-in. Take a look.
Because it just fell down.
The CCTV picks up and records. If nothing's movement for 15 minutes, it just instantly starts. So one of the cameras just shows the packet of roll-ups arriving on the ground.
Maybe there is a rat behind that is trying to do something and then one of these things fell down.
The other camera is already going, and we've had 3 cameras for some reason recording pretty much all night, staggered start, and 3 just
They just
going.
don't want to admit they have
Why
a
are
rat
they
in their
going when
store.
it's
They're so
security
it's
alarms
easier to
on,
say it's a
detect movement,
poltergeist.
detect glass shatter, yet they're running all night. And then you got one camera looking down the aisle, and for some reason, the roll-ups have just flung out of the
For
bottom
some
shelf. It's
reason.
not just slid off; it's been thrown out of the pasta.
It fell. It's literally the motion of its falling. What do you mean it got pushed? It can be pushed by a rat, but like, what do you mean? What do you mean? What do you mean? What do you mean? It fell. It fell.
Yet the
down.
roll-ups are kept 12 meters away.
Ghost hunters have been drawn to the supermarket to investigate.
Maybe the
leading
ghost
to a
was
potential
hungry.
link being made with the murder of a boxer who was shot to death in front of the store in 1998.
Sure. That's a
he be the
boxer. He
ghostly
was
culprit?
boxing a cereal.
Jessica Pulverenti, co-founder of
He was
Adelaide
hungry.
Paranormal Detectives, claimed that the footage appeared to be genuine and said that there didn't seem to be any human interference, staging or wires involved. She also gave Norm some advice on how to deal with unwanted spirits, such as trying to find out who the ghost might be and what they might want. This could be achieved using electronic voice phenomena. Using prayers and cleansing rituals could also help the spirit to safely
Oh
move
my
on.
god.
Other places in
I do
Adelaide
believe in
that are
spirits, though,
thought to be
guys.
supernatural hotspots include Carclew Youth Arts Mansion, with the spectre of a woman who was thrown from the tower to her death.
Nah, man, I hate this vision so much. I hate this vision so much.
Makes regular visits,
Crazy woman.
and
in
Adelaide
white.
Arcade, which is host to the ghost of a former caretaker. But it's Adelaide Jail that holds the #1 spot for the most haunted place in the area.
This reminds me of
It is probably so packed with souls
when we
because
played-
of the 45 executions that were held there. The face in the door.
I don't need my farts.
The final piece of footage in this video is an eerie clip that was taken by a top 5 viewer named Steven,
Ghostbusters!
who used to be a student of Montevallo in Alabama. Stephen took the video of the face in the door and wanted us to discuss the death of a young girl named Connie who once resided in the halls over 100 years ago. Now a co-ed institution and classed as one of America's best
They all
colleges,
look weird.
the university was once a female-only technical college. Established in 1896, it was known as the Alabama Girls Industry.
This shit is creepy, man. Is it just me? Oh my god. I don't know. These type of pictures creep me so much because when you start focusing on each face, they look evil. Like, look at this face here, or this face next to it. Look at this one here. It's like peeking behind this other woman. Oh my god.
School. It was 12 years after the opening, the story of 16-year-old Connie Cunningham began, in 1908. Connie and her 4th floor dorm mates were breaking the rules. However, they had done it before, and there was no real harm in them all gathering together in Connie's room to share some snacks after lights out. The girls sat cross-legged on the beds, dressed in their nightgowns, whispering and giggling, trying desperately to keep the noise down and not get caught.
She's
It's not
cute.
known who came up with the idea of making some hot chocolate by using a Bunsen burner to heat it up, but
the
someone
fuck?
accidentally knocked the burner over. It was the bed that caught on fire first, quickly
all of this
followed by
because of
Condi's
hot
flammable
chocolate.
nightgown, which went up like tissue paper. In a panic, Condi ran out of the bedroom and down the corridor screaming. As she ran, the motion fanned the flames, which completely engulfed her. By the time her friends had caught up with her and managed to put out the flames with a rug, Condi was badly burned all over her body. She lingered on for a couple of excruciating days before she succumbed to her injuries and died.
That's so sad.
We already know that it's not unusual for
So
hauntings
painful.
to be experienced where an emotional or traumatic event has occurred, and
Gosh,
Condi
I don't wanna
Cunningham's
burn to death.
footsteps were soon heard pounding
That's the
up and
worst
down the
time to
halls
die.
over the 4th floor of the residence hall.
The
Her
worst
spirit
way.
could also be heard shrieking, and there were reports of a girl screaming, "Help me."
Aw.
Condi's dormitory room was used for a while after the tragedy, until one day when another student who was staying there heard strange noises out in the corridor. Alarmed, she opened the door to take a peep and was horrified to see the spectre of a blazing girl running down the hall.
I would never, ever live in a place with this hallway. I would be homeless instead, live on the street.
Towards her. Shocked and terrified, she quickly slammed the door shut and turned around to find
This reminds
that her
me
bed
of
was
one
actually
of
on
the
fire. She left college the next day and never
hospitals
returned.
in Tuzla.
It is the door of Condi's old room that is shown in the video, and it's quite unsettling to see what happened to it after her violent death. The image of Condi's contorted face with her hair ablaze supposedly appeared in the
That's
grain
a
of the wall.
ghostbuster. There's the eyes, and there's the mouth, and then there are the hands like woo. And this is these are the teeth. You know, it looks like a pumpkin, a mad pumpkin. What are you talking about? A face? I don't see a face. I see a mad pumpkin.
The
It's a
headmistress at
Morlock,
the time
yep.
was so disturbed by the bizarre
Morlock.
occurrence that she had the door removed and replaced. But soon after, the face appeared again. The door was supposedly replaced several times, but the result was always the same. The screaming face returned. The room was eventually sealed off. The last door was removed and is kept in storage at the university archives.
Man. Yeah, that's a bit creepy.
It is brought out and displayed every October as a way for the students to get into the Halloween spirit.
Yeah, let's
Even to this day,
commercialize
there are
it.
still reports of Condi screaming up and down the halls and in the bathrooms at night. So that's it for this episode of Creepy, Spooky and Scary. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you.
I hate this music in the background. It literally is unsettling, and his voice. Thank you for sharing. Top 5s. Oh my god.